Hello everybody, I'm Linda Monroe Ward. I teach graphic design and web technology courses with a community college in North Carolina. What I would like to show you in this video is how to add content to a prototype that is being created in Adobe Illustrator. So let's first start a new file in Illustrator. I will go File, New, and in the New Document window, under Name, I will choose iPad Prototype. Now, under Profile, I will choose Mobile. An iPad is a mobile device. Under Size, I want the iPad Pro. I want it to be oriented as a portrait. And I will leave everything, all the other settings as they are, and click OK. Right now, let me go Command 0 on the Mac or Control 0 on the PC. I can see the whole artboard. Let's go in the tool panel about 2/3 of the way down and click on the Artboard Tool. Now you can see that Artboard 1 is labeled. I need a background for this artboard. This artboard will probably be my home page, but let's get a background. There's a real easy way to do that. Let's go into Photoshop. Let's say I want my iPad app to be in reds and blacks. So let's start a new document. File, New, in Photoshop. The type will be Artboard. And the artboard size, I want an iPad Pro, just like my artboards in Illustrator. And I'll leave white as the background, and I will go OK. I will go Command 0 to see the whole board, or Control 0 on the PC. Now, I will choose some colors here. At the bottom of the Tools panel is your foreground color and your background color. I happen to choose black for my foreground color and red for my background color. Another way you can do it is for the foreground color, you can also go to the swatches panel and choose some colors. Okay, so I have black and red as my colors. If I go to Filter, Render, and come down and click on Clouds, this is what I get. It's really pretty. And if I want to see what rendering clouds will do, again, I will hold the Command on the Mac or Control on the PC and click F for filter to repeat the filter. So I'll get one that's got kind of a smooth appearance to it. That's sort of pretty. It's got a lot of red in it. And if I like it, I will go File, Save As, and I'll put it on my desktop, and I'll call it Background. I will call it Background. I will change the format to Ping and click Save. I will not compress it, and I will not interlace it. And now I will click OK. So, let's get back into Illustrator. Here's my artboard. I want to place that red and black image into the artboard as my background. So I will go to File, Place, and go to my desktop and find the background. There it is. Click on it. Now, if you see the options and nothing else in the lower right hand corner, click on it. I'm not going to link that background to this Illustrator file, because then I have to keep track of two files. So I'll unclick it so it will embed the file, the background. So I will click Place. My cursor is loaded, and I will go to the top right corner of my artboard and click. Now my background is actually in the Artboard 1. I will also go Object, Lock the selection, because that background's selected. So now I can't move it or anything. Now I need to get some buttons and some text and maybe an arrow to go back. For my buttons, I will get the rectangle tool. And I have red. I think I'll do the background red. If you use white, you miss seeing these little dots around the corners. So I'll use red, and I will create a rectangle. Now it has to be deep enough that these little dots show, and you can change that later, but click on one of those little dots and drag it in, and you've rounded the corners. Now I will get my selection tool, and I will put this button maybe in the center there. I will hold the Option on the Mac or Alt key on the PC and drag more buttons off of that button. Just keep dragging. I will do 4 buttons. I'll get them all jumbled up and kind of close to each other, got that kind of thing. Okay, I've got these 4 buttons. I have 4 buttons. One will be a home, one will be restaurants, one will be clubs, and one will be theaters. Now I gotta line these babies up. So let's move these a little closer to each other. Okay, with your Shift key, select all 4 buttons. Up in your Options panel, you will see these buttons up here for alignment and distribution. I want my buttons to line on top of each other, so I will choose Horizontal Align Center. Now, over to the right, these are the distribution, and I want to distribute them vertically. So I will click that one. And there's my buttons. There's my buttons. Now, let's go ahead, while they're still selected, let's add a little drop shadow to them. I will go to Effects, and I will go to Stylize, and choose Drop Shadow. I will go ahead and use the settings that they have, and I can click the preview button to see what it'll look like. That looks pretty good. And go OK. So let me click off of the buttons. There are my buttons. The next thing I need to do, let's go ahead and lock these buttons too. We'll select them, Object, Lock, Selection. Okay, so the buttons are locked too. The background's locked and the buttons are locked. Now I need to put some names to these buttons. So I will get the Type tool. And I do not want red. I don't want red. But I do want to center the type. I want to choose, let's choose white for the type. Well, we could choose black. Let's choose black for the type. Okay. Now, with the Type tool, I will click, first of all, I will click once on top of the button. And it's awfully small type, so let's go clear in the Options panel, choose 72, and let's type Home, H-O-M-E. Well, that's kind of light and faint. I need a thicker font, and I also need to make the type larger. So first of all, let's do the up arrow on the font size in the Options panel. And there it is. Now let's look at it. It's still kind of faint, so let's highlight it. And let's go where you can find your fonts and find kind of a fat font. Let's look for a fat font. Let's try, no, that's not as readable. Let's try, not Britannica. Let's try, oh, I want it to be very legible, but yet thick. So let's try, let's go at the top. Oh, let's go at Adobe MT Condensed Extra. Okay, so I like that. I will get my Move tool and move it in position. Now, I don't have to keep getting the Type tool and type new ones. I will hold the Option key on the Mac or Alt key on the PC and drag copies. Drag copies from it and line them up. Drag some more copies. And another copy. Put them over all 4 buttons. So now I have 4 names to go on top of those buttons. I will click all 4 of them with the Shift key. And likewise, be sure, and if you don't see that align, there's a line word up here. I will make them to where they're on top of each other and evenly distributed. Okay. Now you will have to get the type tool. In the one that's in the second button, click in the middle of the word home and double click and type restaurants. Okay, and then over the third button, click on that home and double click and type clubs. Okay, and then the home that's over the 4th button, click on the middle of it, double click and write theaters. And get your move tool and click once. There's my buttons with their type. Okay, now you will probably need another arrow on the bottom left corner of this page to go back to your home page. So to get an arrow, you would go to Symbols, and in the drop down menu at the top right corner of the Symbols panel, open Symbols Library and choose Arrows. Now, there's a lot of arrows I can use. I could like bring this one out. It's kind of small. Let me click off of it. You'd have to make it larger. I'm not as fond of that one. Or you can, there's several arrows that you can do. I'm going to do just a regular arrow. And I'm going to drag it out here. And it's awfully small, so I'm going to go Command or Control on the PC and go plus, 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 plus until I get down to the arrow. Hold the space bar and move down to where you see the arrow. Now, I am going to hold the Shift key and drag a corner of that arrow so that it's bigger. Okay, but it's going the wrong direction. So let's go Object, Transform, and we will reflect vertically, and I will say OK. Now the arrow is going the way it's supposed to go. Now that you have your arrow in its location, we need to break it from the Symbols panel before we can change its color. So in the Symbols panel, we will click the arrow, and there is a break link symbol here. So I will click it, and now the arrow is actually broken from the Symbols panel. It's actually a shape now. Now I can click on that arrow. Let's see here, click on the arrow, and I can go to the Swatches panel and choose white or any other color I want. Now let's go Command or Control on the PC, 0, see what we have. I have this arrow to go back, I have these buttons. I may want to go ahead and put type up here that's the name of my iPad, or I'll be putting other images, that type of thing on there. So let's go Command 0, or no, Command or Control minus, 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 minus. What I'm going to do is go Object, Unlock All. Now, with the Artboard tool selected, I want to make copies of this. Say maybe all these are going to be on every screen on my iPad, or maybe not all of them. Once I create screens from this one that's got all this, the buttons and the background, the arrow on it, I can always delete some of the stuff on that other screens. But to actually move and copy this, including everything on the artboard, I need to click this button up here, Move, Copy, Artwork with Artboard, and it's in the Options panel. So I will click it, make sure that's selected. I'll hold the Option key on the Mac or Alt key on the PC. Oh wait, first let's move it. to the top left corner. Now I'll use the Option key or Alt key on the PC and create copies of it. Create copies. And I will go down here and over here. Now, like I said, if any of these artboards are going to not have what was on the first one, I can actually click on it. Let's say, well, we want the arrow. Let's say I may just want the home, oops, sorry about that. I might just want the home image or home button left on this one. I will click it and hit delete, and I'll also have to get the type. Okay, oops, shift click and hit delete. Hit delete. And now I can put whatever else I want, but now the arrows you'll probably have on all of them in the background. So there you have it. You can add images to this, more buttons. Oh, let's get a box. Let's say you need a search box. You will get a rectangle tool and we will fill it with white. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Command plus plus plus. Hold the space bar. Let's go up to this first artboard. Let's say I need a search box. I will fill it with white, get the rectangle tool, and just draw out a white box. Now, for the people to search in there, I'm not going to round the corners. Usually a box that you're going to put type in do not have rounded corners. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Move tool, click on that, and lock it. Object, well, we can just select everything. Command A, and go Object Lock the selection. Okay, now on this box you want some type because they don't know what to put there. So you will get the Type tool and you will choose black, and it'll be a smaller type. I'll go to left aligned and I'll start typing. I'll just say enter zip code here. Well, obviously that type is way too thick, so I will choose a typeface that's thinner. We'll do Arial. We'll just do Arial. Okay, and I need it to be smaller, so I'll use the little down arrow in the options panel here to get it smaller. Now I will get the Move tool, put it in the center of the box, and there, whoops, bring it down just a little bit with the arrow keys, and there you go. Let's go Command 0 so I can see the whole artboard, and that's how you would do a text box that somebody would type in a search word or a zip code or whatever you have. So I hope this helps get you started on actually building your artboards for your iPad app, and thank you very much and enjoy doing this. This really can be fun.